After pulling the chainsaw starter cord 20 times, the inmate stopped and listened intently for any sounds around him. If the guards found them, their escape plan would be ruined completely, they might even be killed, but the gray wall in front of them was actually made of metal, impossible to saw through quickly. He and his accomplice had to take turns working on it, relying on their combined effort to make progress. After struggling for half an hour, they finally cut through the wall. They hurriedly squeezed through the opening into a space that looked like a cellar. They'd hoped to find an exit, only to discover all possible escape routes were blocked by iron gates. Left with no choice, he first put the chainsaw back in its original spot, then spotted a pile of discarded window parts, metal bolts that could be sawed down into keys. But after only 2 saw strokes, the sound of guards' footsteps echoed from above. The 2 men quickly hid. It turned out 2 on-duty guards had snuck into the cellar to smoke, and they hadn't noticed the escapees at all. As soon as the guards left, the pair grabbed the chainsaw again. After another half hour of grueling work, they finally cut through the obstacle. He pried the metal bar with all his strength, walked straight to the iron gate, skillfully slipped the key into the lock. There was a sharp click, the lock opened easily. They lit an oil lamp into the damp, gloomy cellar. The faint flame barely illuminated their path. To their surprise, every lock in the area used the same master key. They quickly located their target, an iron leading to the city's sewers. But they hadn't anticipated the gate had a spring lock. The master key was useless. The calm man came up with a solution instantly. They lifted the gate gently, used a key to prop up the lower hinge, then took out the chainsaw to cut through the upper hinge. They repeated the process for the lower one. Finally, he held up the master key, pulled the broken hinges apart from the inside, and the iron gate crashed to the ground. Freedom was within arm's reach, but they didn't rush out. Instead, they snapped matchsticks and wedged them into the hinge gaps, blending them perfectly with the key to disguise their handiwork. The man then squeezed through the opening, rehung the gate pan over the obstacle while covering their tracks. Even if the guards came to check, they'd barely notice anything was amiss. They stepped into the sewers excitedly, only to find the exit blocked by concrete, too hard for ordinary tools to break through. But the nearby walls were made of shoddy cement, which could be scraped away with little effort. The man suggested it would only take a few days to dig through, and they'd bring tools to start the next day. However, the guards were about to make the nightly rounds, and the 2 still hadn't returned to their cells. Luckily, they made it back just in time. After wiping away any traces, they pretended, and the guards left without suspecting a thing. The man realized a critical flaw: they had no way to keep track of time. No timer, no watch. If they'd been even 10 seconds later, they would have been caught. To avoid exposure, they knew they had to make a timer, something to help them coordinate their moves more precisely.